Welcome to Whispers of Healing, where we speak the unspoken, heal what's been hidden for too long, and guide your heart back to the love it truly deserves. Consider deeply what resides within the depths of a man's soul, the silent emotions that, despite not being voiced, inevitably shape his view of the world around him. There are certain women whose presence leaves a lasting impact, etching a memory that stays with him for years, even when he outwardly shows indifference. The mystery doesn't lie in her looks or physical allure, but rather in that brief yet all-encompassing gaze, which seems to reveal his very essence, perceiving him entirely without averting its gaze in fear. This penetrating look has the power to uncover his true self. This woman embraces him entirely, with all his strengths and weaknesses, and finds beauty even amidst the chaos of his inner world. She genuinely admires him without any flattery and challenges him in a way that doesn't harm his ego. This kind of attitude from a man holds more value than 1,000 compliments, as it provides a true sense of genuine recognition. What truly moves a man deeply within his soul? It's not the physical absence that affects him, but rather the emotional inaccessibility of a woman who doesn't require grand declarations to secure a place in his heart. A woman who does not seek love but naturally inspires it, one who does not avoid attention but is simply impossible to overlook. She lacks an obsessive need to be liked, yet she continually draws attraction. It isn't about manipulation or any strategy, but rather the sincerity of her feelings. It's about understanding the inner world of a man when he meets a woman who exudes self-confidence, possesses a magnetic presence, and knows how to maintain her distance. This is exactly what causes him to think of her, even when she is not around. Her presence is never intrusive, yet it leaves such a profound and lasting mark on him. Within this context, we are reminded of the insightful words of Louise Hay, who passionately asserted that self-love forms the very foundation of any positive transformation. When a woman acts driven by this profound love, everything about her communicates without the need for words. Her silence turns into eloquence, her gaze deeply touches the soul, and her absence is perceived more intensely than the presence of many others. This is because her worth is not loudly proclaimed, but deeply felt. Let's explore male psychology and see how gestures, words, or pauses become symbols in his subconscious. Let's delve into understanding why certain women linger in a man's memory indefinitely, even if it might seem a considerable amount of time has elapsed. What aspects of his soul have been stirred? What old wounds have been reopened? What deep desires have been kindled? Ultimately, when a man feels he has lost something that imbued him with a sense of significance, uniqueness, and admiration, it becomes impossible for him to simply forget it. And it wasn't merely that the woman was perfect, but rather that he became a better version of himself than he could have ever imagined, just by being by her side. The true essence of a man is not revealed by the external attributes that are visible to the public eye. It's not the impeccable smile, the athletic physique, or the relentless attention that define him. Instead, it lies much deeper within his soul, in what resonates with his self-identity. It is what confirms his innermost aspirations and his ongoing struggle for recognition in the world, something he might not always be able to articulate with words. A man might find himself surrounded by love and adoration being the center of attention, yet he can still experience a deep inner emptiness. What he subconsciously seeks is genuine respect and admiration, something not easily won, a recognition of his uniqueness, rather than just an assessment of his merits. He longs for an emotional challenge that won't strip him of his inner support and, most importantly, the desire to be perceived as someone who has made a significant and visible impact on the world. When a woman manages to awaken such profound feelings in a man, it transforms into more than just a pleasant pastime for him. It becomes a profound emotional experience. And as we are aware, experiences like these are not easily forgotten. They are etched into his emotional memory, much like a tattoo. He might not consciously think of her every single day, Yet in those moments of solitude, triumph, or defeat, her image gently resurfaces in his mind, accompanied by a quiet echo. In these instances, words truly lose their power and significance. It's crucial not only to say "you're incredible" or "I like you," it's about the way you gaze at him when there's no need to impress, how you truly listen to him without any force, and how your presence uplifts rather than pressures him. Louise Hay, when examining this matter from another perspective, observed that someone who fully and completely accepts themselves starts to view others from the same standpoint. A man knows when a woman doesn't need him, but chooses him deliberately. He profoundly experiences the importance of the moment when a woman stands before him, having the freedom to choose, yet remains by his side. She does so not because she fears being alone, but because she holds a deep respect for his inner world. This moment reaches the deepest parts of his soul, touching him in ways that are truly meaningful and significant. In today's world, where numerous men feel pressured to meet these heightened standards just to earn love, a woman who can recognize and appreciate their true value without imposing any demands becomes an exceptionally rare treasure indeed. And something that doesn't come along very often leaves a lasting and indelible mark on the heart. This genuine and deep connection awakens his dormant instincts, his inherent need to protect, to share generously, and to guide, not based on mere strength, but on a shared and common purpose. When a man truly feels that he is seen and recognized in all his greatness, yet also has his vulnerability accepted, he starts to reconnect deeply with his human side. This does not make him weaker. Instead, it provides him with a heightened awareness, a stronger presence, and an enhanced sense of masculinity. This is not rooted in his achievements or displays of power, but rather in a harmonious and confident feeling when he is around this woman. The energy that emanates from her is capable of transforming him entirely. When words are spoken with genuine sincerity and a naturalness that cannot be forced, they have the power to change everything. I have complete trust in your judgment. Your presence is truly comforting to me. I always feel safe whenever I am around you. These seemingly simple phrases, when spoken by a woman who understands her own worth and isn't trying to please others, become incredibly powerful emotional anchors. He might not voice it openly, but he will definitely feel it deep inside and remember it for a long time. A woman's strength is in how she offers, being open without neediness, admired without seeking approval, and present without pursuing. This delicate equilibrium between firmness and tenderness, between being present and allowing personal space, is something that many men subconsciously yearn for, often without realizing it until it is gone. And when they finally lose it, they come to the realization that the most painful part was not just losing her, but losing the best version of themselves that only came to life in her presence. Ultimately, the deepest impact on a man isn't from a perfect woman, but from one who awakens his sense of self, faith in his strength, and zest for life, making him feel seen and understood. That's why, when a man and a woman share a genuine bond of mutual admiration, and she can touch his soul's most delicate strings without dominating, he remembers her, even if he doesn't admit it, or their paths part. And quite often, the reason why a man finds it difficult to forget her is not because of a love that has faded, but rather because he hasn't felt the same emotions with anyone else. There are gestures that simply cannot be replicated, words that linger in the memory, and looks that need no explanation. All of this, within a man's inner world, can hold much more significance than countless direct statements. A woman who communicates through the language of emotional nuance doesn't need to raise her voice to leave a lasting impression. She doesn't need to showcase herself to stir desire, because what genuinely excites a man profoundly is mystery. It is the sensation that he is confronted with something beyond understanding, something he cannot fully possess, yet cannot disregard either. This enigmatic allure captivates him more than anything else. the male mind is especially open to stimuli that emotionally challenge it. However, not every challenge can reach it. It needs to be a graceful challenge, acting as an emotional mirror that encourages him to look within, to truly feel his emotions, and to question his own thoughts and feelings. When a woman says something like, "There's something intriguing about you, but I can't quite figure out what it is yet," this phrase deeply resonates within the soul because it offers not reassurance, but rather a new perspective, stimulating his imagination, capturing his attention, and engaging his instincts. Louise Hay argued that the way we communicate is a reflection of our self-esteem. And in the case of a woman who is confident and lives in harmony with her femininity, her communication truly becomes an art form. There is an undeniable sense of intent in her pauses, a profound depth in her silence, and an emotional charge in her simple phrases that a man cannot easily explain, yet he deeply feels. Phrases such as, "I love the way you own the silence," "I don't know what it is about you, but it calms me," and "with you I feel like I can let go of control and not get lost." These are not merely compliments, but rather subtle hints that affirm his masculine power. A man truly needs to hear that his presence is indeed valuable, even if it doesn't require too much effort on his part. This statement holds tremendous power because men, despite their outward bravado, often experience doubts about their self-worth and seek recognition, but they want it without feeling dependent. A genuine and sincere expression of appreciation from a woman, one that is devoid of any ulterior motives and is not rushed, becomes a powerful symbol for the man. It serves as an emotional anchor associated with feelings of well-being, approval, desire, and security. This symbol is deeply embedded in his subconscious, linked not just to a specific woman, but to the positive feelings he felt around her. This is why he recalls her, even if unwillingly. A confident woman's energy has a magnetic quality. She doesn't need excessive justification or constant persuasion, she just exudes confidence in her value. When a man is in her presence, he senses something within himself shifting, as though he's encountering a profound truth. This truth is beyond his full understanding, yet impossible for him to deny. Such a woman eludes simple categorization, provoking in him a mix of contradictory emotions, desire, admiration, and respect, all simultaneously. She embodies both a serene harbor and a daunting challenge, both tranquility and tempest. This emotional uncertainty, when genuine and not manipulative, becomes something the man finds irresistibly addictive. Emotional subtlety means sophistication, not passivity. This is the ability to speak at the right moment and to remain silent when needed, to observe carefully without intruding on personal space, to step back without causing hurt or offense, to communicate effectively without excessive explanations, and to allow space for freedom, all while staying in a man's thoughts. When a woman like this departs, what he misses isn't just her physical presence, her messages, or the routine they shared, but rather the symbols she embodied for him, the improved version of himself that came to life in her presence. That's the reason he keeps returning or maintaining contact, even if it's just quietly. Louise Hay mentioned that the true power lies perpetually in the present moment. A woman who truly lives in the present becomes absolutely irresistible, as she isn't stuck on the past or worried about the future. She has a clear understanding of who she is and her true value. Therefore, every word she utters, even the most basic ones, transforms into a profound emotional experience that a man simply cannot resist. He might try to convince himself that everything is in the past, date other women, and get distracted. But if this particular woman has managed to plant certain symbols deeply in his subconscious, leaving an emotional imprint without using any coercion, eventually he will find himself returning to these memories. Even if it's not in a physical sense, he will revisit them mentally, because nowhere else can he find the same energy. It's not because she was the fulfillment of all his dreams, but because she made him feel genuinely alive. This feeling of life, recognition, the mystery, and silent understanding cannot be faked. It can only be truly experienced. And when this feeling is lost, it leaves a specific emptiness behind. Therefore, a phrase spoken softly in a whisper, an unexpected gesture, or a goodbye without offense can echo in the heart of a man for many years to come. Attraction does not arise due to perfection, but rather because of authenticity. When a man is free from roles, obligations, and burdens, he truly feels complete. Intuitively, he can sense when a woman is there for him by her own choice, not because she needs something. This energy of freedom and independence naturally commands respect. A woman who is capable of being happy on her own, who doesn't actively seek attention, and who doesn't change herself just to please others, possesses a quiet, almost hypnotic power. Her presence isn't intrusive, yet it remains palpable, even after she has left. It is this kind of energy that is associated with something truly rare and valuable. It's not that it's intentionally difficult, but it's hard to forget. Louise Hay claimed that self-love isn't selfishness, it's essential. When a woman loves herself, she doesn't show arrogance, but calmness. This calm is disarming, needing no affirmation, not expecting quick responses, and doesn't crumble in silence. It stems from self-esteem independent of others. This is the type of woman who truly captures a man's profound interest because he feels inspired by her presence rather than pressured by expectations. She desires to share her life with him, not because she's searching for something missing within herself, and this significantly alters the dynamic between them. Nevertheless, the essential counterpart to emotional openness is maintaining a strategic distance. It doesn't involve playing mind games, but rather having the capacity to step back, remain silent when needed, and conserve your energy at the right moments. Men have a sense when a woman is capable of walking away without creating drama, not out of fear of losing him. This makes him reflect on her worth and reassess the influence she has on his life. A lot of men might not openly admit it, but they often feel emotionally overwhelmed when someone is overly clingy and too focused on them. The secret to achieving success in this balance is to be there without becoming predictable, to express interest without completely merging into another, and to love while still maintaining your own identity. By mastering this balance, a woman remains an emotional enigma. A man is unsure of what lies ahead, but this intrigues rather than repels him, as she doesn't fully reveal herself right away. She withholds from those unworthy. This doesn't push him away, but keeps him emotionally engaged. She doesn't chase a man, yet she doesn't ignore him either. She moves with a quiet strength from within, and every one of her approaches seems like a precious gift. Her absence, on the other hand, feels like a significant loss. This isn't just due to what she does, but rather because of the deep feelings she inspires in others. Louise Hay made a strong point that we are accountable for the energy and messages we send out into the world. A woman exuding confidence, dignity, clarity, and inner peace needs no strategies. Her very presence acts as a filter, drawing in those who resonate with her energy and deterring those who can't match it. And so, as her image slowly melts away into the distance, it is not merely the physical absence that is felt, but rather the vast and gaping emotional void that weighs down like an oppressive burden. That abyss represents the painful contrast between the way he had soared so high with her and how utterly pathetic and insignificant he feels now in her absence. Yes, she wasn't flawless, it's true, but in her company he had experienced emotions and feelings he had never known before. The paradox was that she had no desire to make a splash, and she never planned to be unforgettable, yet she was. She lived in harmony with her true self, and that authenticity made her truly impressive. She didn't cling to others' opinions, yet she didn't build impregnable walls around herself either. She didn't beg for love, but she offered it generously when she felt its sincerity. This rare kind of energy, once recognized by a man, robs him of peace forever, compelling him to become satiated with routine. Perhaps he would not return, and perhaps he would never admit it. However, the fire she kindled in his heart will continue to burn and smolder indefinitely. Strategic alienation should not be seen merely as a punitive measure, but rather as a personal challenge. It's about understanding your own value, recognizing that you don't need to constantly seek attention. It's having the ability to withdraw with dignity while staying aware and mindful. It involves understanding that at times silence can speak more eloquently than 1,000 words could ever convey. And the beauty of this balance is not in the game, but in the deep understanding of his personality. In the absence of fear of losing someone who failed to appreciate at face value, in the belief in the uniqueness of his inner world. Here's the paradox. The less she seeks him, the more he desires her presence. The more genuine and deep her serenity, the more intensely vivid the memory of her becomes. She does not push him forward aggressively, but gently beckons him to follow her, does not demand his attention forcefully, but instead awakens within him a powerful storm of emotions. She does not restrain him, but instead reveals and exposes his very soul. A man who has lost such a remarkable woman will never be able to forget her. After all, he has not just lost a companion, but his emotional mirror, which was instrumental in helping him feel more masculine, confident, and significant in his life. He lost that energy, the one that didn't need him but still chose him, and this is truly an irreparable loss. At the conclusion of this emotional journey, a simple yet clear truth comes to light. The stronger sex fears most not losing the fleeting image of an ideal companion, but rather the soulful closeness that provides a feeling of deep understanding, sincere admiration, and an exciting emotional challenge. A man does not yearn for just a physical form, but rather for that unseen bond, that feminine energy which made him feel more complete, more collected, and truly real. And this is accomplished not from a feeling of necessity or self-sacrifice, but rather from self-love, from authenticity, and from that inner peace. According to Louise Hay, this peace grows from the awareness of one's own value, which does not need any external validation. A woman who possesses self-esteem and self-respect transforms into more than just a companion. She becomes an entire life experience. She does not need to occupy space to make her presence felt. She accomplishes this with just a simple silence, a piercing look, and the skill to say goodbye without causing any offense or reproach. This image lingers in a man's memory like a lasting scent of perfume, like an emotional echo that appears quite unexpectedly. Men may not always be able to completely understand their feelings, but they possess an excellent memory for emotions. And if there was a woman nearby who could see through them without passing judgment, who admired them genuinely, without resorting to mere flattery, and who knew precisely when to pull away without vanishing entirely without a trace, then the mark she leaves is truly indelible. They might never openly admit it, and they might not return, but deep within them, that energy continues to exist and pulsate quietly. It remains alive in silence during those moments of inner emptiness when no other woman can touch their soul in quite the same way. And if you happen to be that woman, there's no need to conclude relationship cycles with loud words. You don't need to seek validation of your worth through other people's reactions. All you need to do is remember that simply being there is enough. That your ability to view another person with compassion is a truly priceless gift, and that your love, which is born out of your inner peace, has the power to transform without any effort at all. Sometimes just existing is already a powerful message. We often mistakenly think that true power lies in having control, in always saying the right thing, and in constantly proving that we are right. However, the real strength, especially within feminine energy, is found in the emotions you evoke in someone else with your presence, and even more so when you're not physically there. It's about what he recalls about you when you're distant, in the feelings you stir in his soul without even having to touch him. When a man senses that you might have lost interest in him, yet you still think of him fondly, it generates that very emotional tension that doesn't fade with time. Deep within the very core of his being, there exists a soft and gentle voice that constantly whispers to him about the past. There was something genuine, something truly real there. This persistent doubt, much like a splinter that won't go away, this obsessive what if, is far stronger than any rational arguments or final decisions he has made. It's like an eternal seed that continues to germinate and grow within his soul. It's an unresolved possibility that keeps living and breathing inside him, continuously reminding him of who he is. So if you've ever found yourself wondering whether his thoughts about you ever visit him, the answer is a resounding and unequivocal yes. If you have successfully managed to make him feel truly seen and deeply understood, then the answer is indeed yes. If you have provided him with a unique and special emotional experience that he simply cannot find in any other relationships or hugs, then the answer once more is yes. If you departed without any recrimination or resentment while staying true to your own self and your principles, he might not openly admit it, he might never write to you, but he definitely feels it. He carries you within his heart. In the end, what a man feels upon understanding the loss of such a remarkable woman isn't merely a fleeting sadness. It's a profound recognition that the unique version of himself, which truly flourished only in her presence, no longer fits into his life. This realization can be quite a shock to him, prompting a reevaluation of many aspects of his life. It compels him to reflect deeply, draw comparisons, and search for you in others, even when you are no longer present. This process of reflection and realization can be both enlightening and challenging, as he comes to terms with the absence of that special bond which once defined a part of his identity. So never underestimate the incredible power of your truth, your authenticity, and your unique energy. Do not belittle your virtues. Do not dim your inner light just to meet other people's expectations. Refrain from striving for those who cannot see and appreciate you. Stay whole and self-sufficient. Even when the world around you attempts to break you down and tear you apart, above all else, do not forget who you truly are. If these words resonate deeply within your soul, and if you feel that a part of your personal story is being told here, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Here we delve into emotions in a profound way, always with respect and compassion, guided by the wise teachings of Louise Hay. After all, it is only through a sincere and genuine connection, one that travels from heart to heart, that we find true value, which remains with us forever.